Hi there, KT here. The Lantern Mindfulness Practice, A Growing Knowing. Thank you very much for being here. I think this is the final drop for the Lantern. I'm feeling inspired that this is the final drop. And I think it's going to be akin to Amor Fati, which is Latin, I believe, for embrace your fate. Step into your fate. It's a Stoic philosophy. And so I thought that based on where we've been and what we've done, that finishing off with a bit of Stoicism might be a good way to kind of put a bow on it and embolden us, kind of give us some tools moving forward. As we start to really get in those caves, our journey starts to take on a life of its own. Because again, the Lantern was really, my intention was to document my spiritual journey in an effort to help you with yours, to give you some best practices on how to move through maybe a little bit more efficiently, to give you some context to understand maybe some things that happened to me that might be presenting to you so that you know what to do with them, how things kind of worked for me, like a playbook that I would have liked to have left for myself that I could have picked up in August of 2022. And away we go, it would be called. And away we go. And so Amor Fati, I think, is really kind of a good spot for us. Because what we've done is we've been paying attention to our self-talk. We've been paying attention to the relationship that we have with ourselves. We've been trying to loosen the grip a little bit to allow us the space to start this journey. We've been looking for trends in what's coming up to help us figure out, kind of follow that down to the root. We wrote our story, and that gave us really good insight, not only as we were writing it and how we felt about certain episodes, but, having written it, we now can reference back to it to help us kind of organize to get ready to go into these caves. Because at the end of the day, we have to account for what happened back there and our part in it. We have to come to a level of acceptance that it went down the way it went down, and we did what we did, and others did what they did. We have to accept it. We have to move through the experiences that we have to move through in order to feel and release them. And we've got to set all that stuff down, release it back into the ether, and clear out as much as we can and move forward, right? And step into our purpose, step into an understanding that there is more to who we are than we perhaps understand, and we're going to give it a shot and make a bet on us, okay? And so going through and writing our story helps give us kind of our source material, right? And then I recommended that you kind of go through and organize your story into like little episodes at a time. I think in the video itself, it was a cul-de-sac, okay? And then we converted it over into a cave. Because caves are, I think, more representative, in keeping with the saying that the treasure you seek is in the cave you fear to enter. And this is designed, the Lantern series was designed to embolden you, to give you the strength and the courage that you needed to step into those caves, okay? So we organize the periods of our life into these cul-de-sacs, these periods, these caves. And then each one of those, we consider, who were we? Who was the version of us that endured that stuff? What did we look like? What was our circumstance? What was our living environment? Where were our parents at the time? What were they like? What were they going through? Like, what was our day-to-day? And then throw a superhero costume on each one of those versions, standing in front of each one of those caves, because they endured what they endured in order for you to be where you're at now. And I think we all agree that if you're poking around here, that's a pretty good place to be. Because you're inspired, you're curious, there's a growing knowing. That's what it is, right? And so then how to work with going into those caves, there was a drop that I did to help kind of fortify. Let us not forget that most of our beliefs were formed by the age of 7. And so if you consider the 7-year-old you forming these beliefs, these beliefs that are the levers that determine good and bad, right and wrong. Like, let's give a dust off on those and consider that 7-year-old. Who was teaching this 7-year-old who's forming these opinions how to life? Who was a role model? What were the circumstances? All of those things. Give some grace is what that's a tee up for. Is as you get ready to go into those caves, let's give ourselves a ton of grace, okay? Because we'll need to be real sweet with ourselves for how we responded, things that we did, things that we said, things that we tolerated, all of that. And we'll have to arrive at a place of acceptance for all that happened, and certainly the part that we played. Because it's at that point, I think, that once you arrive at kind of an acceptance of what went down back there had to go down the way that it went down in order for me to be where I'm at. And now, here we are. We have a clearer understanding. We have a lot more clarity. Maybe we've been doing the 5 things in the mindfulness practice, right? We've been exercising gratitude, meditating, journaling, promoting movement outside, taking care of our physical being, and then taking care of ourselves, self-care. A real strong theme of self-care all the way through the series, okay? And so you get to that point where you go in those caves and you are in a position to observe kind of those goings on and allowing whatever is supposed to come up as a result of that to move through and clear from your body. Face those demons, right? And so having a clearer understanding, having kind of moved through some of that stuff that happened back there, maybe now we're in a position that we can look forward. And we can start to see that maybe it wasn't as happenstance as we thought. Maybe it's not as coincidental. Maybe there's more synchronicities than we could have imagined. Maybe the things that played out in our lives played out the way that they were supposed to bring us to where we're at right now. And so as we move forward, we carefully consider those things that drop in to our experience, nasty or not, as relevant, valid, curious, specific. It is not happenstance, the things that are going on around you. Like, I consider relationships that I have with people around me. There's no coincidence that they're the way that they are. Things that show up in my day-to-day, things that are kind of overarching themes that seem to be kind of reoccurring. You'll start to notice these things. And as you do, what the Stoics, and I may butcher some of this stuff, but as I understand it, right? Like, just let it be as I understand it. Like, don't quote me. I'm not going to give an ibid or an et al. Or any of that bibliography stuff, footnotes and the like. But one thing that I like about the Stoics is basically they believe that the things that happen to you are not coincidental and that you should look at them with a rational and curious mind that says, what could this be here for to teach me? What lesson should I be learning? Let me carefully observe and move through this experience in a way where I can try and get all the lessons out of it as I can. It's here for a reason. Let me take it seriously. Let me use the skills that I've acquired to, maybe it's the 4 agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz. I think that's it. Don Miguel Ruiz, where it's, your words are impeccable. What you say matters. Don't take things personally. Don't let what others think deter you from, don't take things personally. You determine, you set your vibe, not others. Don't make assumptions. Let's not get out there in the future monkeying with that and creating resistance. Don't make assumptions. Just take care of what you have to take care of right here in your now. And then the 4th is do your best. Whatever you're doing, do your best. So watch what you say. Don't take it personally. Don't get out there monkeying around, and do your best. And so doing those kind of things helps you move through the experiences that are presenting to you in a way that gives you an assurance and a fortification in your belief system that what is happening to me is on purpose. I'm pulling it in somehow. Somehow it's in response to my vibe. So your job is absolutely vibe. Your job is vibe. Like, take care of things, get your backyard clean up what happened back there, kind of set a course, I'm going to move this way through the world right now. Here's kind of the new things that I'm going to be practicing. I'm going to make more space for this. I'm going to do the things that take care of me. I'm going to make sure that I'm a priority. I'm going to stop saying yes to things I mean no. I'm going to put more boundaries down, all of those things. And you start moving through the world in a different way. And these things start presenting to you and you're like, let me observe from different angles and aspects and see if I can't make sense of whatever the hell this is. And then back to this, whatever this is, it's for the best. From this, only good will come. Therefore, all is well and I am safe. Because the outcomes from the challenges in our life, if we look back, are probably positive more often than not. Like good comes from those. And I'm not going to say with a blanket statement 100%, but I can say from my perspective as I look back, they were tough, and it might have taken years for that perspective to shift such that I could see that that was a good thing that happened, that it was for a good reason that it happened. Okay. I think there's a lot of richness in the Stoics that you can lean into at this stage. Like you're getting ready to embark in some darkness. It's like dark night of the soul stuff coming. But again, nothing you can't handle. Amor Fati, nothing you can't handle. You're completely equipped with what's in front of you to manage that right now. So manage that right now. Let's not get caught up in what's going on out there. Let's work with what we've got right here. Get the lessons, get the learnings, figure out the landscape. How does it align? Are we starting to get a better feeling for what our purpose might be? Follow doing things that feel good. I think it's Abraham Hicks. The vortex. Find the good feeling when you're making a decision where you're not really sure. As you're running through the options, follow the good feeling. The option that feels the best. See if you can find one option that feels even better. Further yet on the feel-good spectrum. Ever follow what feels good. The things that don't feel good, there's a trigger there. There's something. That's a clue. And so move through life by following what feels good. Easier said than done. Certainly easier said than done. But follow what feels good. Because my belief, and I don't think we dove into it too much in this particular Lantern series, is akin to the vortex with the Hicks. I think that we are built with a purpose, and that if we align to that purpose, we've got a guidance system that we're born with that travels with us that is usually dormant. That's usually the thing that creates the anxiety within us, is because it is a soul's revolt of what we're currently doing versus what we should be doing. So we get anxiety. We start turning around, clearing out, getting, drops 1 through 11, and we start moving through that stuff, and we get to the point where we've got our intuition is active and clear, and we can start to really follow it and listen to it. Feel it, know it, follow it, and follow those good feelings. And so that's where I'm at now, is kind of, I'm in a space where I think something's around the corner. It's big. I'm getting to a point where I am really working to surrender any resistance on how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who's going to bring it to me, where it's going to be, all of that. I'm resolving converting if to a certainty. It's not if, it is a certainty. It's just a matter of when. And how to who cares? Who cares? It's going to happen overnight. It's going to come out of nowhere. Most of the things in my life that have been significant and impactful have come out of nowhere overnight and been impactful. And so I just have to kind of lean back into that. I'm too busy racing and chasing, trying to figure it out. So that's what I'm currently moving through. And then the things that are showing up, I'm considering significant. I'm curious about them. Why did I get that message? Why is this person coming into my life? Why did I run into this person at the grocery store? Like, what is What's there? Something's there. Let me see if I can start to get some shape and some form to the experiences around me, as opposed to, I don't know. Never mind. I don't wanna. Like, hold it and observe it, if that makes sense. And I think for those that are kind of where I'm at, maybe it does. And then for those where we're not quite there yet, just be patient with that statement. That it'll come. It'll come. And so I think that this will be the conclusion to the Lantern mindfulness practice. I think 12 drops with this conclusion being, be open to what's happening with you and what's around you, and work with what you've got right now. Whatever comes up, you'll know how to do it. The only way out is through, and it's time for you to continue to step into it and be courageous. Bravery, when done correctly, feels a lot like fear. So step out of fear into courage. Be brave, my friends. Keep going. Thank you so much for those of you that have joined along, kind of followed along this journey. We'll see what's next. Right now, I see intermission. I see an intermission sign drop in front of me, which tells me we're not done yet, but that this is a good place for us to pause and see what develops. And so I will see you down the road. I look forward to continuing our journey together, building, growing, and moving through this world in a way that brings us a lot more peace and joy. That's what I'm looking forward to. I certainly have found that a tremendous amount of solitude, but I'm cracking through to where it's kind of like, I'm kind of liking it. Like, I feel like I really should be saturating in these moments and enjoying them, because when it breaks loose, things are going to be vastly different. And I'm going to look back on this with a bit of whoa, that I didn't soak it up enough, that I didn't appreciate it truly for what it is, which is what we should be doing with each of our nows as it occurs to me. So with that, I bid you well. Safe journey, safe travels. Thank you very much. Please reach out if you are inclined. I would love to connect. I would love to hear from anyone that this resonates with. And with that, I will see you down the road.